hosted by the Taiwan Space Union and the Regional Advisory Committee of AOGS. I should mention a little bit that such series of webinars this webinar is to be used as an example for the Regional Advisory Committee of AOGS, in the sense that from RAC's point of view, we hope that in future there will be other agencies, other societies, or other organizations would work with RAC like we do today to organize bilateral or multilateral discussion, on issues of common interest. And we use the air pollution and public health and remote sensing as the starting point, because this is a very important issue. And both in India and Taiwan, we have a new initiative in checking these problems, and we think that is a very useful way to establish cooperation. But as I said earlier, we hope that this format would be an example for future cooperation between other organizations with RAC. And today's seminar, online seminar, will be chaired by Professor Umesh Kulshrestha and also Professor Tawang Liu, one in the New Delhi and one in Zhongli. And then we have 12 or so talks, very busy schedule. But one of the things that some of the participants on both sides, Taiwan and India, this webinar, the purpose is to get to know each other as a contact meetings in preparation for a future in-person meeting in Taiwan, and hopefully to be arranged in April. Yeah, that Professor Kulshrestha knows about that. And so that maybe we have no time to talk about this, but I think that today's meeting will get us, more as focused on what is to be discussed, at that meeting in Taipei. All right, I will give the time back to Umesh. Can you just go ahead?
Thank you very much, Professor Ip. Okay, so in fact, I am going to talk about air pollution in the Indo-Pacific region and need of remote sensing measurements. If you know that there is air pollution problem is very severe, especially in Asia, and we all are facing this air pollution problem. We have to tackle this in a way that we have to reduce the cost of measurements, and their remote sensing become very helpful tool to cover wider area and also to reduce spatial uncertainties when we compare with the measurements. So we thought of, as Professor Ip briefed, that we thought of having this beginning with Taiwan India bilateral program. Later we can include other bilateral or multilateral network to cover full Asia Oceania region. This RAC structure, let me tell you, this AOGS, Asia Oceania Geoscience Society, has got a regional advisory committee, and I am also a member of that. This RAC is having 4 groups, working group, one on low latitude ionosphere research, another one coastal zone risks mitigation management, other one air pollution, and strong earthquake. These 4 groups are there. Professor Ip is the chairman of RAC of AOGS. So we have now this kind of activity frequently by different groups. So this is first webinar in the series of air pollution working group in collaboration with Taiwan Space Union. So it's a very good just to showcase that not only we are spreading awareness among people, but also we are giving a message to organize collaborated programs and especially new dimension of air pollution, which is very much required in this region. I will touch upon certain points where air pollution, and then what we have done and what is the need of that. If you see that air pollution is obvious reason to tackle and having concern for public, because in recent decades we are using a lot of energy, especially coal energy, which is primary energy. And if you see that since 2000, this is going increase and increase and increase in Asia Pacific. This data shows that this, when you are burning coal is emitting a lot of uh, carbon emissions and other pollutant like SO2 and OH emissions are coming, and they are, when coming to the atmosphere, atmospheric composition is changed, and quite obvious that it having health issues and climate change related issues. So this is something we have to worry, and this is, there are different groups and reports published by different agencies. So we also have concern about this. And in Asia Pacific region, other than Asia Pacific, if you consider only the Indo-Pacific also, there are these different countries in Indo-Pacific region are also affected by this increasing emission trends. If you look at this PM 2.5 concentration uh, in a UNEP report for Asia and Pacific region, if you see very high, it's Africa also. So if you consider this Indo-Pacific region, this is very alarming concentration of PM 2.5 that really require control and mitigation, some kind of research, and together with that awareness. If you look at this, this has health consequences, the air pollution mortality in Asia. If you look at these many of these Indo-Pacific countries are in this list. So this is a matter of concern, and this, the purpose of this webinar is air pollution, remote sensing, and public health due to this region. If I now go to further slide, if you look at Delhi itself, it is always in news for poor air quality. Uh, Air quality index of Delhi is always crossing 200, which is poor category. If you look at this, study, it was microgram, 79 microgram per cubic meter, and that also put air quality into. But look at this, mm, um, um, 2020 bar, that is little bit less, and this clearly shows when I was part of EPCA, we put a lot of efforts, and this is reflected in this one together with COVID-19. So this is something very good example to show that COVID-19 and our efforts to curb carbon emission in Delhi, they really show the improved air quality index. Let me tell you, I have very long journey in air pollution, atmospheric chemistry in South Asia, and I have been part of all major programs. If you see this, I was part of Indian Ocean Experiment, ISRO GVP program of ICAR, LC2, then several other programs, Zoom cultivation, aerosol, EPCA and EIA accreditation committee. All this has given a lot of insight what is there in Indian subcontinent and Indo-Pacific region. I have been South Asian coordinator for 2 programs. So this is something, in fact, this is the whole list of that. I forgot to delete that slide, but this is a whole list of this. Now, this gives some kind of impression that my experience, whatever I have earned through these campaigns should be shared, and this is the better forum to share that, and also highlight some of the gaps which need to be focused through this program. If you look at this Sagar Kanya during Indo-Ax, this if you look at the pH of this is acid rain, which is very common during spring, March, January to March months over Indian Ocean. And for your information, I was the first person to report acid rain over Indian Ocean in 1995. And that region was continental effect, oxide of sulfur and nitrogen, they are traveled. And deep ocean, there is no continental effect. So acidity is retained over Indian Ocean. And then another program, ICAR, we monitor aerosols PM10. If you see in Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, we found all uh, time high Bay of Bengal concentrations compared to Arabian Sea. This is something saying that this region that is also part of extending. If you go further, this is going towards the Pacific, so this region to be studied further. Then we have done a lot of work on Himalayas, and if you look at this lower slide, Himalayan region has been declared as a sensitive region, the part of rapid sea program called regional air pollution in developing countries. I was also part of that. So we did snow chemistry and long range transport of air pollution using high split uh, model. And if you see the air masses are coming from western part, these are depositing, means carrying different type of oxides and nitrogen and sulfur. They are deposited, and they have basically threatening the Himalayan sensitive ecosystem. So there was an article which I published in basically Hindi newspaper. So I'm sorry for those who are not knowing, but they say that Middle East and European air masses are a threat to Himalayan ecosystem, and air pollution is doubled in the 2.5 decades. This is something we compared to time values of snow chemistry deposition. This is the area we covered, and then we found the air masses are coming, and mostly these are coming from North Atlantic Ocean and then Hurricane. So this is something, and we did a very elaborated division, how much fraction is contributed by different air masses and what kind of acidity they contribute during that period. This is clearly showing that I told you 2.5 decade comparison of snow chemistry. Earlier, some report was there, then we did the same site, and then we found very higher deposition. So this shows that effect of emissions of sulfur and nitrogen oxides. pH decreased almost in 2 decades, 1.8 unit, that is very significant. Another study we did in Himalaya, and that also showed this air masses are coming from west and depositing Himalaya. So Himalayan ecosystem is very important. These are some photographs. I had previous before GNU, I was in IICT. There we made observatory, all kind of aerosol precipitation and all kind of these instruments equipments were installed. This is another climate observatory, Hanimadu, where I was South Asian coordinator for this one project. This all this Hanimadu super observatory I used to visit frequently, and these all equipments were installed and supervised, some of them by me. And then another network I developed, that is DRS Net India, deposition research through student network. We call for wet and dry deposition and some observation on gases of ammonia, NO2, nitrate, these kind of things we have reported. And this credit goes to my all students. I had around 20 students, and they had different sites, and we have now data of the different parameter at different sites all over India. So this network is still going on. We we preserve data of this network. This is very good data bank for basically comparison and also modeling. We have shared data with other collaborating institute individual also. Another network, I was South Asian coordinator for this also, that bed deposition under GCRF, UKRI nitrogen project, and we had a lot of sites here. So this is some kind of, that is what I am going to, in the end, I am going to highlight that if you have these sites, by measurement, you have scattered. A lot of gaps are there which cannot be filled, which uh, can be filled by remote sensing. So I had difficulty to plot these. Uh, in fact, plotting is possible, but impressive uh, plotting by uh, minimizing the uh, spatial gaps, and that is possible with remote sensing. Then, I plotted like this. Uh, this is not very impressive. If you have measurements, these are, dot 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 you got, and that is not very informative for uh, policy purpose. So if you see this remote sensing type, yes, derived data, you have, all these gaps are filled. So this is something is required. So we have to move more of uh, remote sensing data for validation. Definitely, we require ground observation, but ground site can be reduced. The cost is reduced also, and this is the drop me anode to real-time data. So this is quite impressive uh, figures we get. So the usefulness, what I am going to highlight is for remote sensing. I'm sure other colleagues, they are going to give a very specific talk on remote sensing, like Prasenjit, Mahesh, and we have Saurabh, recently joined a student. He will also talk about something related to VODs, chlorine, and some other PM2.5 derived. So all this is now new generation, basically now it's a very attractive uh, tool to use remote sensing, and that is also good for policymaker to see that, and something very productive efforts can be done. So there are a lot of usefulness points you can see. Already I have covered, not time due to time shortage. I will just, these are some satellites having different type of sensors. So they, uh, if you go into detail, then a very specific these students will give details of each. ISRO has a lot of dedicated program on this. Dedicated groups are there. One of that is coming from NRSC Mahesh, who is also going to speak in this session, and how this satellite observe that basically when it is having some column, and that based on that it moves, and things are scanned, and you get a clear picture, and with reference to the available values you find out whether it leave water or these kind of things. So clearly, there are programs where you can see using satellite data how dust from Mongolian desert reaches the US, and how smoke can travel around uh, 11 days from one place to another. This is something very fascinating and also very useful plots we can get using remote sensing data, and see how good resolution we get out of this when satellite data. So this is something very interesting. So I just want to tell that we have seen Indian Ocean, deep Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea, we have Bengal, but and just to mention, Seven Seas, which was coordinated by George Lynn, has covered this region, a lot of this, but extending from Bay of Bengal to Seven Seas region, that is not covered. So I wish that under this program, bilateral program, probably we can have observations and kind of investigations for from Bay of Bengal to Seven Seas region. So this is something very interesting, and we have a lot of hope for new findings in this one. And in the last, I just had some summary point that everybody knows that air pollution is a big issue in Indo-Pacific region. Both local and long-range transport of air pollution sources affect Himalayan region. Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean are very much affected by air masses are coming from West Indian side and eastern side, southeastern side. They are having kind of uh, gases and aerosol uh, accumulation, deposition, and also that it interacting with cloud, and that people have reported. So we have to have basically another insight other than air pollution impact on human health, which is not very much, So we have requested even the doctors or researchers who are doing public health in this webinar to speak. We have people to speak. They will tell about the issue and observations, how the respiratory problems are occurring and people are suffering. Then we need to develop a treaty on the lines of LRTAP in Europe that was there, how long range transport from Central Europe and Western side is affecting Scandinavia, so, and that kind of so quantification of import and export of air pollutant that is very much required in this region of Indo-Pacific. Then there is a need to develop collaborations for free access of, some certain satellite, you can't have access satellite data, and then some bureaucracy there in terms of access. So we have to have understanding that any country in the region, any researcher can have access of that data of different countries' satellites. And then we have to generate new opportunity for youth and through new collaboration, new projects, so that this use of satellite data get uh, new dimension. In fact, whatever we are using for that, if more people are involved, probably the new dimension of data use can be generated. And that is how science is advanced in this way. So with this, I thank you very much. If you have any query, I will answer. But before that, I have something to request. There is a Asia Oceania Geoscience Society conference in 25 that will be happening in Singapore from 27 July to 1st August. And the last date of abstract submission is 28 February. So I request you to submit your abstract in our session, that is interdisciplinary geoscience 35, air pollution, climate change, and public health. So this is the session. So with this, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for Umesh interesting presentation, giving us the overview of the issues highly regarding to the air pollution, and including the what we had done and what we still needed, especially for the new data set and the new corporations.